Hey everybody, you're here with the Quinn and Me Podcast. Today,
I'm
we're going to
Quinn.
be talking about something real special, the Nintendo Switch. Quinn, would you like to start us off?
All right. Well, the Nintendo Switch is a video game console made by Nintendo that was released in the year 2017. Its main gimmick or feature is that it can be removed from a dock connected to television and it can be played on the go wherever you want to. It sells for about $300 at its initial release, and it has special controllers called Joy-Cons. They can be removed from the console whenever you would like them to. They feature an NFC reading ability, HD rumble, as well as an IR camera. However, they possess a fatal flaw.
Oh,
This
what
is
is this
called
one?
this is called Joy-Con drift.
Oh, I hate
Joy-Con
that word.
Joy-Con drift is when the controller inputs on its own due to how the joystick is made and any dust and grime that gets down in the inner mechanism. But enough about that. Let's talk about the law of demand.
Oh, law of demand. Okay, that's a good place to start off. Law of demand is one of the most fundamental concepts in economics. It works with the law of supply to explain how market economics allocate resources and determine the price of goods and services that we observe in everyday transactions. So basically, law of demand states that quantity purchased varies inversely with price. So basically, the higher the price, the lower the quantity demand. This occurs between diminishing marginal utility, that is, consumers use the first unit of an economic good they purchase to serve their most urgent need first, and use the additional unit to, of the good to serve successively lower valued ends. So just that means higher price, lower quantity, basically. Pretty simple.
Indeed.
In relation to the Switch, Quinn.
Well, in the year 2018, after its launch, it had sold 23 million consoles and over 100 million software titles. The
Whoa.
company stated that they expected to ship 20 million consoles and 100 million software titles in the fiscal 2019. The Nintendo Switch console saw massive demand, especially in the last holiday season. The quarterly sales rose 12% year on year to 198.7 billion yen, which is about
That's a lot.
1.8 billion, with
Yeah.
more than 15 million Switch consoles being sold during the fiscal year through March. And in
Um,
2019, their sales by April to September, they had gained 14.2% from a year earlier to 444 billion yen, which is about $4.1 billion. They did this while operating a profit surge, while operating their profit surged to 53.4%, which was about 94.2 billion. The sales of the Switch consoles remained steady as the launch of the Switch Lite gave it an extra boost. Josh, can you tell us what
whoa,
the Switch Lite is?
Switch Lite, huh? Well, lucky for you, I got some facts on this Switch Lite. So the Switch Lite is cheaper and more affordable than the Switch, and it came out around the year of 2018 or 2019 actually. My bad, 2019. And it's got a couple new features and a couple less features. It's more focused on handheld, compact, and lightweight with built-in controllers. Somehow still have drift, and it
That
comes at
was
a
because the
whopping price of $200, which is like 100 less than a normal Switch. So pretty good deal for those who don't want to buy the full Switch.
I will say though, because the controllers use the same joysticks as the normal controllers that aren't built into it, they still suffer the same flaws that have not been fixed yet at this point.
Yeah, I that's pretty lame, but overall the console's pretty cool. I'll let it slide.
All right,
So
let's talk
yeah,
about
back to
2020.
the yeah, that's this year.
So, So Nintendo had reported that a 29% rise in quarterly profit had occurred. Its earnings got a lift from the solid demand for the Switch console during the year-end shopping season.
Yeah.
Kyoto-based, Nintendo's October and December profits totaled to about 134 billion yen, which is about $1.2 billion.
That's a lot.
That went up from 104 billion yen the same period a year earlier. It raised its full-year Switch sales forecast to 19.5 million machines, up from 18 million projected earlier. That number also includes the Switch Lite, which caused an increase in sales.
That's pretty interesting, Quinn. So
Yeah,
law of demand. That's quite cool, quite wild. But you can't have the law of demand without the law of supply. So would you
it's
like to tell
true.
us about what the law of supply is?
Well, the law of supply is the microeconomic law that states that all other factors being equal as the price of a good or service increases, the quantity of goods or services that suppliers offer will increase and vice versa. The law of supply says that as the price of an item goes up, suppliers will attempt to maximize their profits by increasing the quantity offered for sale. So basically, they want to make sure that they can earn as much money as they can with how new iterations and products are released.
That's pretty neat. So in regards to the Switch, prior to the launch, Nintendo anticipated shipping at least 2 million Nintendo Switch units by the end of the first month, and assured that its supply chain will be able to meet the demand following the launch period. And as such, they anticipated that the Switch would have a lifetime sales similar to the Wii console, which sold a total of 101 million units. Following the initial sales reports, in April 2017, it reported the company seek to produce 18 million Switches, which that's like 16 million more than they initially predicted.
It's a lot.
And yeah, so DigiTimes, I don't know if they still exist or not, but they reported in October 2017 that Nintendo had further shifted the production rate of the Switch for up to 2 million per month, which plans to ship 20 million by the end of the year. And that was in 2017, so there's quite a change up quantity since then. And in the presentation of 2017 to investors, Nintendo named President Shuntaro Furukawa stated that they anticipate producing 20 million Switch consoles over 2018. And let's say they did that plus extra. So yeah, Nintendo Switch it had quite the supply going throughout the years.
All right. Now let's talk about the price points when talking about this console. So its original price, $300, technically $299.99, but for the sake of easiness, we'll round up. It is still the same price today.
Hello? You're
This,
telling me that after 3 years, it hasn't changed in price?
yeah, even with a brand new iteration. Speaking of which, the Switch Lite,
Hmm.
it's about $200. As far as
Hmm.
accessories go, the average pair of Joy-Cons go for about $80. The average AAA title goes for $60. And other accessories such as Pro Controllers go for about $70.
So, why after 3 years do you think the Switch hasn't dropped in price? Even looking at the laws of demand and supply, shouldn't the price go down over the years?
Well, you see, it's been in such good demand with people
Hmm.
getting them, including several special editions that collectors will even
Oh,
purchase
see.
multiple Switches just to get. Well as there are several other outside causes, as well as the release of popular games that help increase the price. We like to talk about, not increase the price, would increase the sales due to people wanting to get their hands on Switch exclusive titles. You talk about some of these causes?
Some of the causes, huh? So let's see. Some of the causes that affect our product. Well, first of all, I think the biggest thing would be the release of different games. Because I know for a fact that I got my Switch because of the release of Smash. So I'm
Yeah.
sure other people, once games come out, if they see a game they like, they probably have to buy a Switch too. So that keep people coming year round. So that'd be the first thing. The other thing would be current ongoing pandemic, which has caused people to purchase mass amounts of systems and maybe sell them at a higher price for people seeking entertainment during self-isolation.
Quite a
Enough of
greedy
that.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Were
go
there
back
any
to the gaming.
specific title?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
what
what I
specific
found,
titles helped spike the increase?
yeah, what I found was like one of the best titles, Nekopara. So starting us off with Nekopara Volume 1, which released on the Switch around, let's see, July 4th, 2018, which, mind you, was the big increase in sales. So in 2017, when the Switch first came out, they had a total of 274,000 units sold. But in 2018, they peaked at a $1,505,000 difference. And that was when Nekopara 1 first released. So what I'm assuming is that the release of Nekopara actually helped to boost the sales of the Nintendo Switch. But that was just Volume 1. In the following
Oh,
year, 2019, Volume 2 and Volume 3 of Nekopara were released, and that resulted in another increase of over 190,000 units sold in the coming year, which, that's a pretty big increase. Hmm, yeah.
yeah.
So, let's see. What do you talk about next? How
Well,
about you
some of
tell
the
us about the iterations
factors.
of the console? Yeah.
So, so some of the so there have been three iterations of the console. The original Switch, which we will call version 1. This is the one that I personally have. And
Okay.
then there's version 2. This
Oh, there's a
one
version
was
2?
released. Yes, this one was released with a better battery life, so it can be
Oh,
played longer when you're on the go. The
that makes
average
sense.
the average battery life of version 1 was about 6 hours, with the second version being about 9 hours.
So how much more did
Additionally,
it cost?
at the same price.
Oh, wait, really? They added
Yeah.
all that stuff in for free?
Well,
How'd they get away with such a thing?
because people will buy it and that's good enough.
Oh, I see. I guess it was just
Additionally,
battery life.
yeah, nothing too much as people did
Yeah,
test to see if it was more powerful than the previous iteration. However, all the specs were the same except for the battery life. Additionally,
interesting.
we've had the Switch Lite,
Ah, yes,
which
yes.
is the portable alternative that
Yeah,
features all the same same features of the game console, except for its ability to dock to a television and play.
yeah, yeah.
It's also worth noting that there have been rumors for a nice long while about a fourth iteration of the Switch.
Another one?
Yes, this one would be much more powerful, being able to play better and get the higher quality games, as
Okay.
Nintendo has never been too up to spec with the other main generation consoles of the time.
Yeah. I
However,
give them credit where it's
to
due. They managed to make quite the console this time around.
they've managed to stay real up there in the sales and stay relevant despite that.
And they've had a lot of iterations over the years, but they've also added some extras onto their Switch console and little features that might incentivize people to spend more money. Would you like tell us about one of them?
So one of those would be the Nintendo Online membership. A very unpopular decision at first, and still has its flaws. The Nintendo Online
Yeah.
membership is required to play games online, or the majority of games. There is an exception to not being able to play online, so that is the popular title Fortnite.
Oh,
Because
Fort.
that game is because that game is purely online multiplayer, they decided not to lock it behind a paywall as the game is free on its own.
Okay, so I can play Fortnite for free. That sounds like a
Yes.
deal.
The Nintendo Online subscription costs $3.99 for 1 month, $7.99 for 3. For 12 months, it's $19.99, and if you have
That's
multiple
pretty
people in your household with a Switch or Nintendo account, you can get the family membership, which holds up to 8 players for 12 months at a whopping $34.99. This offers the
yeah.
ability for online gameplay. You can save cloud data on the majority of games, with 3 exceptions, being Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, and
Okay.
Animal Crossing New Horizons. Though New Horizons has
So
a workaround where you can recover data.
okay. So it seems like stuff like
Also,
Nintendo Online gives Nintendo extra money. So
yep,
that kind of makes sense why they're able to sell stuff like the Switch version 2 at the same price because they're making a ton of money from their online services, right?
yeah, there are
Right.
also various accessories like cases, cartridge holders,
Oh yeah.
grips, stickers that you can put on the docking controllers, various other customizable colors of Joy-Cons, and
Yeah.
even chargers and stands.
You really gotta get these extras too. I mean, can't live without them.
Some are definitely worth getting.
So after that, we got factors that affect the supply of our product. So I'll start
Yeah,
us off with a few of them. So Nintendo Switch is produced between Taiwan-based Foxconn and Japan-based Poseidon, Foxconn accounting for the largest volume. So it's mainly in Asia because we don't make none of these. So Nintendo did not plan to sell the Switch before manufacturing costs at launch, or below manufacturing costs at launch, as they had done for both the 3DS and the Wii U. But Nintendo affirmed that the Switch would be profitable from launch during 2016, and it saw its key earnings during 2017 and beyond, which is quite wild. Formal Hot Techno Solutions, a Japanese product teardown firm, estimated the Switch cost around $257 to make, compared to its $299 price, with the console and dock at about $167 to make, and the Joy-Cons at around 45. So overall, they make around $33 profit, yeah, per console. And that's not counting the Switches or the Joy-Cons or the dock or anything, which earns them quite a lot. So you got some facts for us, Quinn?
I do.
Oh,
So it's been
okay.
said that they may be able to see further profitability on the Switch when they can achieve volume discounts on components once they reach a level of about 10 million units.
I
Production
think
rate
they're
was
doing.
limited by production rate was limited by component availability and not by other factors of Nintendo's production process. In June
Yeah.
2019, the Wall Street Journal reported that Nintendo was starting to move some of its production of the Switch in two hardware revisions outside of China and into Southeast Asia to limit the impact of United States tariffs on electronics made in China.
Goddamn United States.
However, however, currently they are in
Oh,
short supply due to the coronavirus pandemic. There's a higher demand for the consoles as they can't really make them if they need to isolate self quarantine workers who would be putting stuff together and assembling them, as well as there are people who are doing something called price gouging, which would be when they
oh.
bulk buy a product and then increase the price to make a profit themselves. We can also see this with how people have stocked up on toiletries and other resources during this event.
So even the Switch isn't safe. It's
Nothing
crazy.
is.
So I guess supply is short right now, which
You still there? Hello? Or have you cut out? Are you there? Josh?
I'm alive.
Okay, you're back.
I don't know what happened, guys. I think I died for a second. But where did I leave off?
I think we were going to talk about the connection with shifting price points as they're related to supply and demand.
Oh, okay. I can start us off with one of those. So the price of the original console has not changed over its entire lifespan, which is kind of nuts. That's due to a consistent demand in the product, which has led to a similar consistent supply. Thus, the price does not need to change in order to increase demand/profit. While the price of the console hasn't changed, features like online have been added over time, which are technically an increase in price, but at the same time, the console itself hasn't actually changed, so they're still making a good profit.
All right.
Hmm.
Let's
So
talk
let's
about
see.
how it's affected in the market and society and shown the driving force of innovation.
Hmm. I'm not too sure about that one, Quinn. Would you like to tell us?
Of course. Since the
Okay.
release of the Switch, it has become extremely popular. Its handheld nature is an important factor in its success, as well as other attempts by other companies to do their own stuff. Soon after the release of the Switch, or the announcement, one of Nintendo's main competitors, Sony, the owners and creators of the PlayStation line, filed a patent for a controller that was seemingly able to split into two parts, similar to Nintendo Switch's own Joy-Cons, but nothing has yet to come of this product. Additionally, a company called GameVice has
What are those
attempted
games?
to file a lawsuit over the Nintendo Joy-Cons being similar to some of their own products. See, they make Bluetooth controllers meant for cellular devices, and these controllers slip over the ends of the phones, similarly to how the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons lock on to the sides of the system. However, they've failed in this lawsuit due to the Joy-Cons being different enough, with additional features such as their rumble, IR camera, and amiibo functionality.
Hmm.
However, they're attempting to file a second lawsuit, but doubt that it would even go through at this point. Another way that they've affected the market is that they've actually been popular enough in sales that competing companies have actually released their own exclusive titles onto the system. So Sony, which we mentioned before, released the remastered Crash Bandicoot and Spyro trilogies. These were previously exclusive to their respective owners, except for a few previous entries being on handheld Nintendo systems. But it's not every day you see these types of games go cross-console. Nintendo Switch has also been able to inspire indie creators to create games specifically for the Switch, as well as them being able to actually get those games onto the Switch. Let's see. Nintendo has always been able to dominate the handheld market and has sold extremely well. It's performed much better than its predecessor, the Wii U, which had failed for various reasons. It innovated on what Nintendo had been doing for decades by improving on what they had already been doing and keeping up with their standard of quality.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Let's
So,
talk. Let's talk facts.
oh,
Give us
facts. Okay.
some. Let's make sure we get those numbers we need in.
Yeah, let's get some basic information we get down. So the Nintendo Switch was released worldwide on March 3rd, 2017, which makes sense with all the numbers we've been throwing out around 2017, 2018, 2019. And the total hardware sales so far are 52.48 million units, and total software sales go up to 310.65 million units. And as stated before, it hit a total of 274,000 units in 2017, moving up to 101,505,000 in 2018, and now sitting at 1,695,000 in 2019, which that's pretty high thanks to the power, live, and demand.
Well,
Yeah, we've got
let's
quite a lot of
see.
Switch facts down. So How about we talk about some games on the Switch? You know,
Yeah, we're talking about a console. We haven't really touched on what's available on the console.
yeah,
So some notable releases are the aforementioned popular Nekopara series, which is a
yes, yes.
visual novel game. There are currently 3 of them, with potentially a 4th coming out. Some
The
other
fourth one has
notable.
been announced.
Oh, has it?
Yes, we don't know when it'll come, but I know it'll be a big hit when it does. Switch might
Fans
even
of the
hit like
series,
$1,000,000. Yeah, it's
fans of the
not
series
crazy.
will be excited to see that come out.
Like,
Some
ooh,
other first-party titles that are exclusive to the Switch include popular games such as The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, which won Game of the Year in 2017, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the popular fighting game franchise featuring many of Nintendo's properties.
that's what got me into the Switch. So I mean, it
Yeah,
works.
it's a very fun game. You have Animal
For
Crossing New
sure.
Horizons, which has the best-selling opening weekend on the console.
Probably because of
We
the
also
virus, maybe.
have, probably, but also its extreme popularity among fans and its availability and easiness to play for people who haven't touched the series before. Another notable
Yeah,
release is Fire Emblem Three Houses, the newest entry in the popular RPG series.
I like that game. That's pretty fun.
Last thing we'll mention is Pokemon Sword and Shield, the previous record holder of best-selling opening weekend. Well, even though it was received very poorly by fans due to lack of effort and several other issues that a game being released on the Switch should not have the face by a company who's been working on these games for over 20 years.
So it sounds like all these different notable releases really
Well,
increase
let's go.
the demand of the product, right?
Let's go with a little in depth about one
What's
of
your
the
favorite game,
more
Quinn?
popular releases. If you
Yeah.
could give us
What's
some
your favorite
facts
game?
on, I don't know. Right now, I'm enjoying Animal Crossing: New Horizons,
Crossing,
but
huh?
the people know all about that. They want to hear
Do they
about the
though?
other. Yeah.
Why, why don't you tell us about this Animal Crossing, Quinn?
All right. Well, it is a life simulator game where in this game you go around a previously uninhabited island to help uh, cultivate it as well as make a society there for yourself and the other villagers who are animals
Society. Oh,
live there.
interesting.
You you
So,
progress through the game by building your home as well as paying off debts to a character known as Tom Nook, who fans of the series have differing opinions on.
what do you mean?
Some consider him to be the villain of the series due to the fact
Oh,
that you have to pay off a debt to him. In the earlier games, he is seen as a bit rude to the player, specifically in the
so
first title, Animal Crossing from the GameCube. However, as the series progressed, some fans began realizing that he's actually not that bad. For one, he charges you debt with no interest that can be paid at any time. He doesn't hold you to a time
what?
limit or anything. It's also implied that he had been scammed in the past, which is why he decides to help the player in making these responsible financial decisions.
Oh, what a sad
So,
tale.
he's not really the villain after all. But enough about that. We didn't go too in depth into one of the other notable series that we
Probably the
listed
most
here.
notable one.
All right. If you care to go in depth about this series that helps make the Switch what it is, please do so.
Okay, so the Nekopara series is probably the greatest game on the Nintendo Switch. It's sold at a price of $14.99, which might sound a bit steep for what it is, but it's gone on sale consistently, and I was able to nab all 3 volumes at the low price of 9 something. Yeah, I don't remember what the other numbers were, but 9 something, and that was pretty good. So I got the full trilogy for a good $30 plus tax.
Such
But
a deal.
and you have to realize that with the game, you also get Nintendo Gold points, which you can then use to
Oh,
get other games on the Nintendo Switch.
how could we forget about those?
Oh yeah, we did not mention those, but whenever you
Yeah.
buy a game on Nintendo Switch, you get some Nintendo Gold points, which you can tally up and get. You can use to buy games for free, which incentivizes people to
One
buy even more games.
one gold point equals 1 cent. So the
Oh
more you
yeah,
go up, you can use those to discount on titles you want to purchase, as well as
I,
DLC
I got like
for some
200 of those.
games.
That's almost $2.
I have one.
Oh well, that's 1 cent.
I
You can
use
get,
them for
there
something
are games on the
stupid.
eShop for 1 cent. It's like Bouncy Bob. That game is really good.
Yeah, I think it's gone back up in price. That deal
Well,
ended.
yes, but it was 1 cent for a good while, and I got it. Okay, so back to Nekopara.
Quality.
So as I said, Volume 1 released on July 4th, 2018. Now, the game is a family-friendly game that you can play with the whole fam, or just your friends, or maybe by yourself. It's 17 plus, but I'm also 17 plus, so I can play the game, which is good because it's a really good one. You don't want to miss it. Now, I'm sure other people will play too. It's fine.
So much fun
So the
with the
plot.
family.
So you might be wondering, what's the appeal of Nekopara? Why should I play this game with like cats? Well,
Please tell me. I've never played it or seen much of it, but I've been told by
speak.
you there's a nice quality addition to the Switch's titles.
So life right now, it's kind of doo doo. You know, sometimes you just want to get away. And that's what Nekopara is. So Volume 1 starts you off as an aspiring chef who moves away from home to open up your own confection shop. But there you find two Nekos who come along with you.
No,
And
what's a
well, they dream
Neko,
of
Josh?
Nekos. Well, they're like cats and cute girls combined, like that. And they're
All
quite the
right.
treat. So you start off with two of them, but you'll come to know that there's like six of them.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you basically get to go through a little visual novel, fully animated with 3D animations and a system called Emote that allows the in-game characters to be animated instead of stationary sprites. So you don't just get girls standing still. You get them moving around, blinking, breathing. It's like they're real. And you can use the Joy Cons each as if they were your own hands, full with their HD rumble system, which makes it feel as if you're in the world itself. So it's
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 an
quite the
impressive technology.
quite the technology. So it's a full-on immersive experience. And then Volume 2 starts off, and you get two more Nekos joining your family. And then Volume 3 is where you get like the best cat girls, because they really want you to play through all three games. But yeah. Oh yeah, did I mention Volume 1 comes with an exclusive Volume 0, which is a prequel series
Oh,
to the original Nekopara for the low price of $0. You just gotta buy the first game and you get two in one. Just
quite the
quite
package.
cool. I know. Well, the Nekopara series has gone through a lot of iterations and it's had quite the history. It started off as a lowly Kickstarter campaign, but after raising a total of $1,049,000, they were able to make their game a reality and also got their own anime adaptation, which just finished actually like a week ago.
It just
Full
shows how
fledged
popular the
adventure.
series is for it to even get an adaptation.
I know. Not anything can make an anime, but Nekopara did it. That's one. I think that was one of the first few visual novels that actually got a successful game or a successful game and anime. Yeah. So that's quite
I
crazy.
feel like there's probably been a few more, but it is pretty neat to see something that went from a Kickstarter project to go to these levels of success.
Yeah, and I think there's like a little tier that you could spend like 100,000, and you got like your OC in the show,
Oh,
which somebody bought that. So I mean, they made a lot of money. Uh,
This
Well, that
community
just always
likes
kind of
spending
like
money
a
on this
supply and
type of
demand
stuff.
chain right there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think
So
that about wraps up this podcast
yeah,
episode.
that was we learned a lot today. We learned
Indeed.
supply and demand. We learned all about the Nintendo Switch, as well
And
as
the Necopara series.
we we went through a lot. But overall, I guess key points: Switch, very popular. It's managed to stay at the same price for over 30 years now, and it'll probably continue to do so throughout its lifetime.
It's
It's
definitely
got a
left
bunch
an
of games,
impact on the market.
and each of these games help increase the demand, which keeps the supply going. So right now the supply is pretty low, but supply of everything's pretty low right now, so that's fine.
Actually, from what I've heard, the stores have already been able to stock them up again
Hmm,
recently.
that's
So who
Japan for
knows?
you.
We'll see how supply and demand goes for the rest of this console's lifespan.
Well, thanks for coming on, Quinn. And that'll about be it for the Quinn and Me podcast.
We'll
See
see you
ya.
next time.
Woohoo.
Bye.
Bye, bye, Craig.
Bye, Craig.
Do, 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 do.